give us your overall thoughts on the game. I mean, start off a little slow, but really battled back. Just what you talked to the team about as well.
Yeah, I think I talked about how I was proud of them and how we took steps forward. And I feel like a lot of it for us has been we're young and we're youthful, and it's, we're relying on that as excuses. And I feel like we're starting to make things happen. And, we're talking about on-court things, we're talking about basketball things, and we're engaged all 40 minutes. I mean, we started slow, yes, but I still feel like the pace was there, the connectivity was there, and then the production was there throughout the game. And I thought this was one of our better games to where, we really bought into being good teammates and being there for each other and picking each other up and making sure that we were connecting when mistakes happen. And so just proud, not the outcome we wanted, but I feel like we took a lot of steps forward today.
Coach mentioned you guys had a team meeting on Friday. We don't need all the details of it, but how did that come about?
I think we're tired of having the same conversation, to be honest. We all want to win. We may not all know what it looks like, but we all want to win. And, we get into the locker room at halftime, and, I mean, it's no secret, slow start, right? In the locker room, we're a second-half team, we're a fourth-quarter team, and we're trying to, figure out how do we get the fourth quarter to the first and second and third quarter. And I think it just came down to we were tired of having the same conversation, and, it's time to make moves. And so we got together as a team, and, again, just proud of how we responded and how we applied that, because I feel like in the past it hasn't been applying the conversations that we're having, which is why we're getting the same results. And, we can't expect a different outcome if we're doing things the same way. So I think it's just, overall, we want a different result. And I think today we took steps forward, and we're going to get it soon.
As a leader on the team, when you're down going into halftime, what are you telling your team, and how do you feel about what you need to do?
I think Coach talks a lot about keeping it very task-oriented and what we can do to not be losing in the second quarter. How can we produce more? Where are we falling short to where, we're making strides in the second quarter? And outside of that, it's also just making sure that our talk there, that our efforts there, communicating with everyone how important it is for them to do their job. And so just, trying to stay positive and productive as possible, but it's very task-oriented and just what we need to do to make the second half look different.
Peyton, last question for me is very young roster. I mean,
Yeah.
Even some of the upperclassmen haven't even been here that long.
Right.
In a losing streak like this, what do you tell your team just to make sure that it doesn't just spiral out of control?
Yeah, so I think that's what our conversation was about. It's about confidence. It's about if we do our jobs and we buy into why we're here, we're gonna get a different outcome. Yes, we had the conversation last night, but we can't expect it just to click like that. And so I think it's just amplifying the little things that we did talk about and how we did apply them. So today it was a lot about, we were having basketball conversations, and we weren't having conversations about how internal we were, how emotional we were. And I think that's a huge thing for us. I think we're trying not to focus on, hey, we're on a whatever game losing streak, but it's like focus on the positive, focus on how we were productive, focus on how we did respond and what we're doing now that we weren't doing before. And the results are going to come. We just got to stay the course.
All right, Coach, just like normal, let's just start, just your overall thoughts on the game.
I don't like to lose. I don't think anybody likes to lose, but I am proud of our team's response from Central Michigan. Come to find out, our team had a team meeting on a Friday night that they put together, orchestrated themselves. And so I know we have a roster of kids that want to win, that are trying to figure it out. And so I'm just proud that we came out for 40 minutes and competed. We weren't talking about the same things. We weren't making the same mistakes. And do we have a long way to go? Absolutely. But today was a good step forward.
Have you been able to put your finger even closer? What's going on in the first quarter? You're just struggling to find the bottom of the basket.
That it's not like we don't have good looks. Like we have the looks we want. I feel like we're playing at a higher tempo. So I think probably about 5 games ago now, we weren't for 2 games. But I like our pace. I like our looks. We're not focused enough to knock them down, I guess.
What do you think is the most important thing for your team to work on moving forward?
I think it's just taking a scout, really buying into scout. Like today it was disappointing because we had no answer for Combs, and we had very little answer for Scanes, and those were the two kids that we talked about the most. And so I think it's just buying into personnel tendencies, trying to take away what they want to do, and again, we're still trying to learn how important that is. It makes it a little bit tougher with one-day preps, to be quite honest with you, but I think moving forward, it has to be the emphasis.
Coach, how do you bottle up the third and fourth quarter? I mean, comeback after every game. How do you bottle that up and try to get that for 40 minutes?
Yeah, I think we're still trying to figure it out. I think we're trying to exhaust all options and answers and all those things, and just asking a ton of questions right now. Like I said, I think once we can find some rhythm, we've had a really unorthodox practice schedule, so it doesn't help. But I think just once we find a flow, we'll click and we'll be just fine. Honestly, I wasn't even most impressed with our fourth quarter. I thought our second quarter was pretty good. So that's better. I think we played for 3.5 legit quarters. There were a couple minutes that we compound possessions too often. So we make one mistake and one turns into three. And I think the more that we can cut that back, the better we'll be. But yeah, I think it's just exhausting options and continuing on our process.
I thought Foster Walker really gave you something off the bench today, like just a lot of energy and just getting to a lot of loose balls.
She has all the potential in the world. She has all the potential in the world. I think reps are going to help her. I think it's all maintenance at this point with her. I think it's just continuing to develop, but she has a high ceiling. She can come in, focus, and do her part. I know our staff is very excited about her potential. But 9, 8, and 5 blocks in 20 minutes is pretty impressive. I think that ultimately she could be a legit double-double kid if she puts her work in, and she starts to see herself for that.
Last question for me is, you've got such a young team. How do you make sure that the losing really doesn't derail like the rest of the season?
You know what? That's why I think I'm walking away like I am today. At the end of the games, I can always tell by our post-game huddles where our mind's at. We had kids play very little minutes, if any, say we took a step forward. We had kids that played 30 minutes saying, you have to block out the noise. It's about us, and it's our process, and we know we're getting better. And it has to be that. It has to be very much what are our measures of success, not everybody else's measures of success. It's ours. And just continue to get better and continue to build, because ultimately, when it clicks, we're going to be scary. I keep telling people, when it clicks, it's going to be scary. It's just getting these guys to understand that and believe that, and I think they are.